Here's a second video for you guys for the New York City radio channel. Welcome everyone. What's good in your lives these days? I'm Josh Diaz. With your New York City radio briefing. So another thing I am really kind of upset about is the way WQXR has gone on 105.9. Ever since they moved up the dial and got bought out by WNYC, the station has gone downhill. They don't play the public radio programs that most public radio stations play. They don't even play, they don't play Symphony Cast. They don't play Music Through the Night. And they're upset about, they're playing just essentially New York at Night without disc jockeys. How is that good? Why don't they just syndicate the Music Through the Night program that's syndicated by American Public Media and play that at night from 11 until about, they can move Exploring Music up to 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock every night. Because honestly, Exploring Music is on too late. It's on at 11 and everyone's asleep by then. If you want people to listen to Exploring Music, put on WQXR at 6. 7 o'clock, put on Symphony Cast once a week, and then you put on these other programs that are usually syndicated, like the Spanish Hour with Candace Agree, because it would be nice to hear Candace Agree on her old station in New York. She hasn't been heard on WQXR since she got fired by the transition. She could have signed a contract with New York Public Radio. I keep telling you this. And yes, she said she went to WFMT, which is a partner station at WQXR. But she'd rather forget, but when Kevin Gordon moved to, recently got rehired by the new WQXR. It took a long time, but essentially New York Public Radio decided they needed him. So they rehired Kevin Gordon after he retired from WRTI, which I've been starting to listen to. I'll tell you, in certain hours, I do like WRTI when WQXR plays a piece that I don't like. So my 3 stations for classical music, WQXR for New York-centric classical music, like Carnegie Hall and stuff. If this whole talk is on, I put on WRTI. So that's WQXR is my New York-centric word. And if I'm awake. WRTI. No, I put on New York at Night sometimes. If I don't want to hear a piece on Music Through the Night, that's on WRTI. WRTI FM, which is essentially my secondary station in Philadelphia, where I listen to only when it's nighttime and I don't want to hear a piece that WQXR is playing during the automated New York at Night. So essentially, what they're doing right now is what they did when the time zone the station. That's number one, and they're also doing and then we're going to go into my 3rd station, which does the same thing. Symphony Hall on Sirius. Symphony Hall on Sirius also has no DJs. And that's why I like listening to Music Through the Night, because they have a recorded Music Through the Night program on WRTI and other stations around the country. I don't understand why WQXR doesn't play that at night. Instead of they can play that syndicated night program that they play on WRTI, WXSI. Every station throughout the country plays it, except for WQXR. I'm like, they want to cut costs, play more American Public Media programming. You want to cut costs, that's what you do. Do what WRTI is doing. Play more syndicated programming. Stop with the Young Artist Showcase. I love the Young Artist Showcase. But honestly, I love local programming, but sometimes the syndicate is kind of limited. The syndicated program isn't as much as WRTI has it, which is actually run by a WQXR alum by the name of Zev Kane. I didn't blame... All right, I'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, WRTI is just really... I just don't like... I don't like that WQXR doesn't play the music it should. Because essentially it's like, I don't understand it. It's unbelievable. Oh, there's the bus. Okay, let me get that bus. And I will say, it's just really ridiculous. It's like, that WQXR doesn't play the classical music that it should, the syndicated program that it should. They should play the extended Performance Today weekend on Saturdays and Sundays. But because they don't want to change their licensed city to New York City, they could easily do that. They don't need to be licensed to Newark. They're a New York City centric station, and if they did that, they could play the whole Performance Today weekend from 6 to 8. But because of regulations, and they should change the license to New York City. They could do that. Thank you.
It's empty.
What?
It's empty.
What? All right. Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I gotta refill it at the subway station when I get there. All right. So I just say that it's just I got on the bus now. So WRTI is a good station. And a station is if WQXR alum runs by the name of Zev Kane. And he should be giving his old station some pointers here in New York. It's like, I don't understand why they haven't copied WRTI. It's like, they gotta start doing that. They can't be acting like a top 40 classical station. There's no such thing, and I think that WQXR has gotta stop trying to be like popularizing itself. They think they're like this station that should be acting like a pop station. Like, play Torelli, play the stuff that is really not played. And all the early music was confined to 9 p.m. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good at all. Because that's why I listen to WRTI part-time. Because they play more Torelli. They play more composers that they should be playing on 105.9 WQXR. And but when the Times owned the station, they ran the station right. They were on a powerful 6,000 watt frequency. The Times, they wanted to go back in the newspaper business, but honestly, when they sold WQXR, essentially what happened was WNYC decided to hire all the people back, but have a different playlist than the old station. I started hearing the pieces that I used to hear on 96.3 pretty recently on WQXR. They didn't play them for many years when they moved up to dial. Like, I remember that there was a piece called Edward German or something. They didn't play those pieces for many years on the new frequency. And I'll tell you, when Jeff Spurgeon worked at WQXR at 96.3, he had a little bit much of a say, more of a say than he did at, he had a little bit more of a say when he was working at the old WQXR than he does now. The DJ has much more of a say when they were working on 96.3, unlike for the Times company. Because the Times, their indifference helped the station.
And West Depot Way.
And it also helped them be a little more eclectic. But on the other hand, WNYC is too involved with their too hands-on. Well, with the Times hands-off approach, it really helped them be more eclectic. The Times hands-off approach and Margaret Mercer, I think they should have hired Margaret Mercer. She would have kept the station the way it was. They should have brought her to 105.9. I don't know why they didn't. She would have been perfect to run the public version of the station. They shouldn't have hired her. They should have hired her because honestly, they didn't hire Vinnie Marino. They didn't hire Candice Agree, Bill Jerome. Why hire only a portion of the staff from 96.3? And why hire, honestly, Terrence McKnight? I love Terrence, but why hire him? He's nothing compared to all these other people who were different. WQXR, when it was owned by the Times, was a much classier station. It was different. I don't know how to describe it, but it was so much different than it is now. Now it's too, I'd say too commercialized. Even though it's a public station now, it's just not run as well as it did when they were owned by the New York Times. 15 years ago. And we're coming on tomorrow to the 50th anniversary of them moving up the dial. And that's why I think that it's a good time to reflect after 15 years that maybe they should have hired some of the people and let them do their jobs the way they did at 96.3 and not fire them and hire people who don't know what they're doing, including a guy by the name of Max Fine. Max Fine doesn't know what he's doing. They should have hired all the old people who worked at 96.3. They should have hired Margaret Mercer. They should have hired all these people who worked at the old WQXR, not these people who don't work there now, these young people who don't know how to run a station. Max Fine is okay, but he's not a good producer. I don't even know why he was even hired by them. They've gone downhill. That's why I've started to listen to WRTI, because they represent what WQXR was. And I listen to Symphony Hall. They have a former QXR alum there by the name of Preston Tremblay, doing middays or afternoons. He's good. All right, so I just wanted to tell you on the State of Classical Radio what my opinions are. Thanks all, and I'll be back with another video soon. Love you guys.